Alright, this was stage 3 of the Oregon State USPSA Championships here a couple weeks ago. A rather unique stage, had some goofiness, but for someone who doesn't like normally these gaming stages, this was a lot of fun to shoot. And there's a lot of opportunities to make up time or lose time just on some basic footwork and target engagements. You get to start in this little box holding the bat to knock over this little plate over here. Gamers got a game. Start position says 2 hands on bat, bat touching shoulder. We'll run it through at full speed, then we'll break it down. All right, you saw me make a couple hesitations there, or herky-jerkiness. Let's talk about the stage. Okay, you start with a loaded pistol on the barrel. This plate's going to activate this swinger. I wanted to burn the draw time by running to the forward box up to here. So it was hit and run. Laying down the bunt. Hauling butt into the spot. Okay, let's watch how I enter. My brake foot is my right foot. So to enter the box, slow my roll. Left foot just to barely come in. I decided to shoot these 2 static targets over here from up here. Don't think that was the brightest move. This was like third shooter, first stage. So I didn't have a lot of time to sit here and really dissect the little stuff. But I think it would have been better to shoot those 2 targets over here. We'll get to that in a minute. So I shoot these 2 paper. Watch the transition. It was a good transition. Head moves first. But what do I look at? Paper. I don't want to shoot the paper first. I want to leave on paper. So I had to come back down to the poppers. Clean up the poppers really cleanly. Transition to paper. Start to load my legs to get out of there. And I'm shooting with that foot sliding backwards so I can turn. I couldn't take a complete step here on the right foot, because I wanted to open my hips up with that big left foot turn to turn that foot into a travel foot. Right now, both feet are target feet. They're pointing at the target. I need to get the left foot turned around to be a travel foot. So I step back with a preparatory step, and I explode by opening the hips, dragging the gun, keeping the gun in a real good position. Now my head's down, spotting my place where I want my feet to go. Now my head's starting to come up to look for the target. There's 2 targets here. A tux or a zebra, a skunk, whatever you want to call it, a partial. And there's another partial down here with some hard cover, or no shoot on it. I decided to shoot this more difficult target first, because this was it was a tuxedo, but it's pretty easy to back out on that. It's close, and it was closer to the angle that I wanted to exit this box. A lot of people came in shooting this one first because it was an easy entrance, but their exit was much more difficult because this target down here was very much a partial. It was a harder target, so you were going to be static. You really couldn't leave anywhere. So I decided to come in. You see I have a preparatory step here on the outside of the box. I'm starting to set up my hips right. Come in with the right foot, bend that knee to get the energy off, swing around, take my 2 shots. The RO's written away. Hi, Larry. As I transition, you see me load my hips. I drop into my hips a little bit, and I start to open up right here. Last 2 shots, foot's in the air as I'm shooting. Now I need to get, I wanted a big step here to keep myself squared up downrange a little bit more on that first step. So I led with the left foot. Then I'm going to swing this foot around to open the hips up with the gun over the shoulder. Got to be careful with this one because the gun's over the shoulder. You notice I'm not pointing over the shoulder. I'm trying to keep the pistol relatively 90 degrees straight down range. Spotting this little foot stomp pad, because I hit it wrong, I'll fall on my face. Going, get my spacing right, plant on that damn thing, get my head around. This is where the confusion comes up. I started to see this thing moving and was on the side of me. I was starting to go there. No, go back to the other swinger. Then I came back and got my quick 2 shots here. And I had to wait for it to come back. Now, I mentioned the mistake earlier of taking those 2 paper, go back to the beginning here, taking these 2 paper from the far box. Or I took it from here. That was a mistake. And the reason I say that is when I got to the last box, I have 2 swingers left. You're swinging to them relatively blindly because you don't exactly know where they're going to be because the foot setup was so important to not break the 180. If I would have left these 2 targets, which shooting open is not that much more difficult. Yes, it's a longer shot, but it's not that difficult. I would have had a dedicated, known spot to swing to, right here, on my first shot when I entered that box. And then I could have went to the swinger. If the swinger was there, I could have gone there first. But I left myself absolutely no options when I come into that last position, and all I have is 2 swingers to shoot. It'd been nice to have something a little more static to shoot on the way into that box. Then I can start picking up the movement targets. Just my thoughts, how I could have done a little better, and hope you learn from it.